This is a book called President Donald J. Trump, the Son of Man, the Christ. Now, somebody sent me a picture of this book at a Trump rally a while back. Apparently, the guy who wrote it, Helgard Muller, has been going to Trump rallies, passing a copy of his book out to everybody. Let me give you an idea of the premise of the argument here. In the Bible, there are two messianic roles. There's a Son of God and the Son of Man. The Son of God was obviously fulfilled by Jesus. He came to earth, died for your sins, and all of that other good stuff, right? The Son of Man is referred to in the Bible in a number of Old Testament books. The book of Daniel, I think, mentions the Son of Man, the book of Ezekiel, and some others. The Son of Man is supposed to be like a cosmic judge who comes along at the end, sparks Armageddon into existence, and judges all of the good people and the bad people, basically. The assumption is that Jesus is going to come back a second time, take control of the Israeli political system. That's why Israel needs to exist as a nation before Jesus could come back, because that's one of the requirements for the Son of Man, for somebody to be the Son of Man, and then spark Armageddon into place. That's the belief among standard Christianity. This guy's argument, Helgard Muller, is that America is the new Israel, that the founding fathers were descendants of the original Jews that came up through the Caucasus Mountains or whatever else. Complete nonsense, just totally made up. And that Trump took control of the political system in New Israel, which made him the Son of Man. So that is their argument for Trump being the second coming of Jesus. That's what this book is all about, so I wanted to give it a read. We've been reading it already. If you haven't seen the previous parts, don't sweat it. You don't have to see the others to understand what's happening in the current chapter. Do not believe literally a single fact, a single statistic, a single word out of this guy's mouth, just based on what I've already read. Even the most basic facts, like the names of political parties or the translation of words, are wrong. He lies about them constantly. So before you believe a single thing out of this book, make sure you fact check it. And one more thing before we actually get into the book. Some of it can be pretty graphic. The guy is a rabid racist, does not like the black community, grew up in South Africa during the period of segregation called apartheid, and is very obviously an extremely hateful person. So just be aware of that before walking into the book. Without further ado, let's get into it. This is chapter 12 of the book, President Donald John Trump, the Son of Man, the Christ. It's been absolutely nutty up to this point. In the previous chapter, he was giving us his reasons for believing that Trump, of all people, is the Messiah and not somebody else, not Pence or Obama or whoever else. The reason that he cited in the previous chapter, I have a list of reasons. I wrote it down. Trump is a D-bag. And Jesus was not a D-bag. And he believes that the Son of Man, the new Messiah, needs to be the opposite of Jesus. So that's reason number one he cited. The tablets Moses got from God broke, and he got a second copy. I'm dead serious. This is why he believes Trump is the Messiah. The name Donald means world ruler. The word Bible means two lords. None of this is true, by the way. The name Donald might mean world ruler. I don't know. But the Bible does not mean two lords. That's completely made up. Trump's dad's middle name was Christ. That's true because it was the family last name for a long time, and it's apparently a really common last name in Germany, which is where they were from. But that doesn't seem like a reasonable conclusion to reach that Donald Trump is the Messiah because his dad's middle name was Christ. That's insane. Trump's mom's name is Mary. There's another reason, just like Jesus' mom. And Nehemiah wanted to build a wall. Trump wanted to build a wall. Those are his premises, his reasons, the 7 reasons he listed for why he thinks Trump is the Messiah. Obviously, it's going to be absolutely wacky, so let's give it a read, shall we? This is chapter 12. President Donald John Trump, greater than King Solomon. The most fascinating detail about President Donald Trump is that he is the 4th child in the Trump family. The same as King Solomon, who was the 4th child born to King David in Jerusalem, according to 2 Samuel 5:14. There were 4 children born to King David in Jerusalem, whereas Fred Trump and his wife Mary Ann had 5 children together. The sons born to David in Jerusalem included Shammua, Shabab, Nathan, and Solomon. Okay. So am I interpreting this correctly? He believes that Donald Trump is the Messiah because King David had 4 children and Fred Trump had 5 children? I don't understand the logic here at all. Their mother was Bathsheba. Oh, that. Yeah, I remember. What a hoe bag, right? Bathsheba? If the Bible is to be believed. No reason to think it is, but okay. Donald John Trump was born in 1946 in Queens, New York City. Absolutely. He actually lived within a few blocks of where my wife goes to college now, or I don't know, a mile or something. Love New York City to death. You know that Donald Trump grew up on the same street as Stephen Hassan, the cult expert guy? He was the 4th of 5 children of Frederick C. and Mary McLeod Trump. He has 3 older siblings, Marianne, Fred Jr., and Elizabeth. Trump also had a younger brother, Robert, who died aged 71. Yeah, that was not too long ago. The president reportedly had a very good relationship with Robert. Marianne Barry, born 1937, is Donald Trump's eldest sister. Is this a biography on Donald Trump or something? What is going on here? She was a senior federal judge on the Third Circuit Court of Appeals, became inactive in 2017 after her brother took office, and retired in 2019. Is that real? Trump's sister was a senior federal judge on the Third Circuit Court of Appeals? Wow, crazy. Frederick Freddie Christ Trump Jr., 1938 to 1981, was Donald Trump's older brother. On September 26, 1981, at the age of 42, he died from a heart attack. I've said this once. I'm going to say it again. Don't trust a word out of this book. He's writing it like it's like a biography or something. Don't trust him. The guy lies all through it. And he plagiarizes a lot of it too. So don't trust a word that you read in this book. Look it up yourself specifically. Elizabeth Trump Grau, born 1942, is an older sister of Donald Trump. In 1989, hey, that's the year I was born, she married film producer James Grau. She worked as an administrative assistant for Chase Manhattan Bank before retiring to Florida. Okay. I'm getting vibes from this right now. Like, I'm getting the same vibes from this as I get from the first chapter of Matthew, where it goes through the begats, Solomon begat this guy, begat that guy, and it kind of leads all the way back to Adam. It's trying to establish Jesus's lineage back to Jacob. Because to be the Messiah, you have to be Jewish. It's required. It's a necessary component. Here's what's interesting about those begats, not for nothing. They follow Joseph's lineage, right? And Joseph was Jesus' stepdad. Not his dad, his stepdad. There's no Joseph DNA mixed all up in there, right? It was God's DNA that he gave to Mary, who, by the way, did have a lineage back to Jacob, the original Jewish leader or whatever, but it was the exact same lineage listed for Joseph. It's like they were brother and sister practically. There's no reason to believe that Jesus was actually Jewish, like that had a lineage all the way back to Jacob. No reason to believe he had that lineage. The point is that this book gives me those vibes. It's like this guy believes that this book is going to be like a new Bible, and he may be right on that point. The new Bible for the Donald Trump religion. So he's like establishing facts of the case the same way that the Bible tried to with like the begats and stuff. This is crazy. Anyway, let's keep reading. Robert Trump, 1948 to 2020, was Donald Trump's younger brother. He was a business executive who managed Trump Management, Inc., the Trump organization's real estate holdings outside Manhattan. He was an investor in Shirt LLC, one of the owners of Virginia-based Certipathex, which was awarded a $33 million government contract in 2019. Okay. Again, I don't trust any of this. Jesus, the Son of God, was the firstborn, according to Matthew 1:18-25, whereas the Son of Man is the fourthborn, according to Matthew 12:42. Son of Man being Donald Trump, of course. For King Solomon is compared with the Son of Man. This is also the biggest difference between the Son of God and the Son of Man. President Donald John Trump is the 4th child born unto his parents. Various verses throughout Scripture clearly state that the Messiah, or Son of Man, known in Hebrew as the Mashiach, will be a descendant of the house of David. Oh yeah, this is like a necessary component of like being a Messiah, people believe that you have to be Jewish. You have to follow your lineage all the way back to Jacob or Israel. And that's why they had all the begats in Matthew and all the other places, was to try to trace that lineage, though failing miserably. So he must necessarily believe that Trump is Jewish too, right? I think he mentioned that earlier in the book. He thinks that Trump is like a descendant of the original Jewish nation. And he thinks that Trump looks exactly like Jesus. Like, literally, they look exactly the same as each other, which is funny for all kinds of different reasons. The reason that the Messiah, Son of Man, will be a descendant of King David is because once David was anointed king by the prophet Samuel, he acquired kingship for himself and his descendants forever. The verse thus states, 2 Samuel, "Your throne shall be established forever." This acquisition was conditional, applying only to his righteous descendants, as the verse in Psalm states. "If your children will keep my covenant, their children shall also sit on your throne forever." Okay, I don't understand what he's getting at there. Nevertheless, God assured David that the monarchy would not be taken from his descendants forever. While this promise seems to be made about all of David's offspring, we find that God singles out King Solomon according to 1 Chronicles. And later on, David states, and of all my sons, for the Lord gave me many sons, he chose my son Solomon to sit on the throne of the kingdom of the Lord over Israel. When King David reaffirms that Solomon will reign over or after him, he is saluted with the expression, "Let my Lord King David live forever," indicating that the eternal monarchy continues through Solomon. I don't know what the guy's trying to get at here. This makes no sense at all. If this is your first time watching a video from this, like your first time listening to a chapter of this book or whatever, you'll find that basically everything the guy says is complete nonsense. And there are long stretches of time where sentences don't go together. In fact, words within sentences don't even go together. A lot of this is complete nonsense. But every now and then you find something really, really crazy in here, like his claim that anytime the Bible says the word glory, it's actually talking about joysticks. Dead serious. Dead serious. So every now and then you get something hilarious. Anyway, let's keep reading here. In light of the above, the fact that Messiah will be a descendant of both David and Solomon is part of the 12th of the 13 Jewish fundamental beliefs as outlined by Maimonides? I don't know that word. What is that? Jewish philosopher and rabbinic scholar born in Spain. Looks like from the year 1190. Okay. What is remarkably interesting is that the Son of Man, there shouldn't be a comma here. He's really bad with grammar too, and apparently he didn't hire an editor, or none would work for him. I don't know which. What is remarkably interesting is that the Son of Man will send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet. Jesus, the Son of God, is speaking about the Son of Man in the third person, and that Son of Man will make a great sound of a trumpet. The last name of President Donald John is Trump. The Son of Man is the fourth child, according to Matthew, and he will make a great sound of a trumpet. It really makes you think and wonder who President Donald John Trump is. Not really. He changed his name from Trump to Trump. He even mentions that earlier. Like, anybody could change their name to anything they want. I could change my name to Christ if I wanted. Jesus Herbert Christ. If I did that, would you consider me to be a Messiah? This dude's logic is non-existent. Trump's last name is Trump, like trumpet. There. Yeah, that's number 8. That's the 8th reason the guy thinks that Trump is the Messiah. This is absolutely unhinged, dude. Moses in the Torah, the Psalm, the prophets, and the New Testament is filled with scriptures about trumpet. The writers of these scriptures warned when the trumpet makes the sound, the people will know that this is the time, quote unquote, when God and the Lord will make their appearance. The entire Bible is filled with the word trumpet, according to the following scriptures, which refers to President Donald John Trump as the trumpet, or the Son of Man. Wow, dude. This guy gives us a huge list of verses that he believes specifically says Trump is the Messiah. Exodus 19:13, Exodus 20:18, Leviticus 23:24. I mean, I'm not going to read them all, just giving you a couple if you want to look them up later and you're listening and not watching. 1 Chronicles 16:6, 2 Chronicles 7:6, Nehemiah 12:35. I mean, none of these are claiming that Trump is the Messiah. Let's just look one up. Let's look up Nehemiah. No, let's look up Job 39. Let's do that one. Job 39. Okay. Because I don't remember where Nehemiah is, and I would have to figure that out. I don't feel like it. All right, Job 39, 24 to 25. Let's just see what that one says. Here it is. In frenzied excitement, it eats up the ground. It cannot stand still when the trumpet sounds. At the blast of the trumpet, it snorts, aha! It catches the scent of battle from afar, the shout of commanders and the battle cry. That's what that verse says. I noticed it used the word trumpet. Is the guy basically just saying any time the word trumpet is used in the Bible, it is a reference to Donald Trump? That's what it seems like to me. I think that's what he's saying, for real. Jesus said that you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of God and coming on the clouds of heaven. The interesting fact that God and trumpet are mentioned in a few verses here below is another proof that God and the Son of Man, Mr. Trump, will sit next to each other according to Mark 14, and that God will glorify the Son of Man according to John 13. Now remember, if you haven't seen the other chapters to this book, when he says the word glory, he believes that it means, basically, I'm going to have to censor the hell out of this, but that's what it means, he thinks. He talks about God showing his glory to the people of earth or whatever. No joke. He thinks that God is showing people on earth a dick pic when he says that. He says he's going to fill people with his glory. I'm dead serious. So I find this use of the word glorify interesting. God will glorify the Son of Man. Is he saying what I think he's saying? Is he saying that God is going to get with Donald Trump, if you know what I mean? Not to draw a vivid picture for you or anything, but, Yeah, I guess that's the end of the chapter. Wow, some of these are really long and some of them are really short. That's lucky because there are like 40 chapters, 42 chapters. Okay, the next one, chapter 13, President Donald John Trump and the most famous escalator ride that changed America. What a chapter name. On June 16th, 2015, Mr. Donald Trump stepped onto an escalator in the atrium of Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue in New York and began descending into a lobby packed with cameras. This was the surreal day that Trump kicked off his bid for president. It's safe to say that 10 or so seconds that followed are the most consequential escalator ride in American history. Well, I guess when we're talking about escalator rides, there aren't a lot of consequential ones. So I suppose you could say that as far as elevator rides go, this one is probably up there in consequential. Located on Fifth Avenue in New York City and decorated with 24-karat gold and marble features in the style of Louis XIV, the Trump family's 3-story penthouse includes a dedicated elevator to take Trump to his office on the 26th floor of Trump Tower. Trump is on the 26th floor? I thought he was a lot higher than that. Oh no, now he's getting into gematria again. This dude has a weird obsession with gematria. Okay, if you're not familiar with gematria, let me tell you what it is. It's basically this old Hebrew tradition of assigning numbers to letters and adding it. It's like a Sudoku, basically. You add them up and you come up with a number and you have to solve it, numbers on one side, letters on the other side, and it's usually done for like bar mitzvah boys, and there's some cute moral precept or value or something like that to it. That's generally how gematria has been used in Jewish history. QAnoners came along and started using gematria to derive secret messages from situations or people or whatever. The way that QAnoners use gematria is very different from how gematria is supposed to be used. They assign the numbers 1 to A, 2 to B, 3 to C, so on, all the way down to Z as 26. The original gematria worked completely differently. The first 10 letters of their alphabet, there are only like 24 letters in the Hebrew alphabet, I think. The first 9 were 0 through 9, and then the next ones were 10 to 100 or something. I don't even remember exactly how it works. But it's completely different from how QAnoners use it, and it doesn't even really apply in this case because Hebrew was supposed to be like a holy language, the first language. You're not supposed to be able to use gematria for any other language because it wasn't, holy or whatever. So anyway, his use of gematria is both incorrect and preposterous for a number of reasons. But let's see what he has to say about it here. 26 is the gematria number, being the sum of the Hebrew characters, being the name of the God of Israel, Yahweh. This name of 4 letters giving 26 is found in the 4th chapter of Genesis with its 26 verses beginning with Adam and ending by the name of God. Okay, I don't understand anything that he just said. That entire paragraph is nonsense. Those letters go together to make words, which go together to make sentences, but they're incomprehensible next to each other. I don't know what he means by this. By using the correspondence table, A equals 1, B equals 2, so on and so forth, we find that the name of God in English, God, gives 26. Okay, that's not how you use gematria, but all right. It is 26 generations from David to Christ, according to the evangelist Luke, and the number of generations between Moses and Adam. The genealogy of Sem comprises 26 descendants. Okay, is this even true? I don't know if this is even true. According to Jewish chronology, God gave the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, which, it's Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. That's what the Torah is. God gave the Torah in the 26th generation since creation. Is that true? I don't know. This could be completely made up. And even if it isn't, who cares? Why does that matter at all? I mean, how many is 26 generations? That's about 25 years per generation. That's 650 years, give or take. This sounds completely made up to me. On this very same day, 16th of June 2015, which is 29 Sivan, 5775, according to the Hebrew calendar. Yeah, I think Sivan, I know I'm pronouncing it wrong, I apologize, but it's a month on the Jewish calendar. The 9th month, so it's like September, I guess. In the Hebrew year 2448, Moses sent 12 men, one from each tribe, to scout out the land of Israel. Their mission seemed rather innocuous: devise a strategy for battling the Canaanites and for settling 3 million Jews in the new land. Wow, that's messed up when you think about it, right? Canaanites are just chilling there, doing their thing, living their lives, not bothering anybody. And then this big group of people decide to come in and battle them and take them out and take their land and their homes and everything. How insane is that? In Israel, God showed the spies encouraging signs that the land was plentiful and rich, e.g., clusters of grapes so enormous that 8 men were needed to carry them. God also made sure the spies encountered heavily fortified Canaanite cities. Why is it highlighting one line on the other page when I do this? That's weird. I guess it's because of how it's, formatted. Anyways, God also made sure the spies encountered heavily fortified Canaanite cities, which, in fact, is a sign of Canaanite weakness, since the truly powerful do not need to hide behind walls. Yet, after 40 days, the spies came back and recommended against entering the land. The Jews accepted the report, and therefore God said, because you don't want to enter the land, then all Israelites will die out over the next 40 years in the desert, and only your children will enter the land. Okay, this is sounding kind of familiar to the Bible story that took place. I'm not really sure, though, if this is accurate, so take everything with a grain of salt. The spies delivered their negative report on the calendar day of Tisha B'Av. Yeah, I don't know what that means. I'm trying to Google it, but it's not popping up. Is this even a real word? I don't know. Hundreds of years later, the destruction of the first temple occurred on Tisha B'Av, the 9th AV that year, the 9th Av that year, and 500 years after that, the second temple was also destroyed on Tisha B'Av, 9 AV 2448. Right, so Jews do have a time of the first temple and a time of the second temple. The time of the second temple was 597 BCE to 70 CE. So roughly 70 years after Jesus was born, I guess, and roughly 600 years before that. So that's the time of the second temple. The time of the first temple was 1200 BCE to 586 BCE, for what that's worth. Okay, let's keep reading. Today, Tisha B'Av, the 9th of AV that year, is observed as a national day of mourning for the Jewish people. I have no idea what he's talking about, honestly. It is very interesting how Jewish history and Jewish dates correspond with President Donald Trump's life and important events in his life. Yeah, you can draw parallels and connections to anything from anything. This is not surprising or interesting. This happens all the time. There are all kinds of parallels. You know, I was born on the 20th anniversary of the moon landing. That doesn't mean that I'm bound to be like an astronaut or something. If I did become an astronaut, it wouldn't be because of that. They're unconnected. Correlation does not equal causation. Just because you find a coincidence doesn't mean they're connected to each other. Next chapter is number 14. President Donald John Trump went into hell and got the keys. Oh, this is actually really interesting because... Hang on. Wow, this is only like 3 pages long at most. This is interesting because there's a religious group called the Church of the Nazarene. Okay, now I don't know if you guys have heard of the Church of the Nazarene before. It's kind of a fringe group. There's a difference between the Nazarene Church and the Church of the Nazarene. There are different sects, sects, out there. But one of these churches of the Nazarene believe that Jesus, when he died, they believe in these apocryphal books. And in an apocryphal book, there's a claim that when Jesus died, he went to hell and wrestled the keys from Satan and freed all of the whatevers, prisoners or whatever, which means that since Jesus died for your sins, nobody has to go to hell because Jesus has the keys, blah, blah, blah. It's interesting that he's claiming that Trump went into hell and got the keys. He should have some recollection of this if that's true, right? Donald J. Trump should never have won the election on November 8th, 2016, ! The odds were against Trump from the beginning, with Hillary Clinton also running for president. The media didn't believe that Trump could win, so they looked the other way. When Donald Trump descended the golden escalator to announce his run for president, none in the skeptical media pack below could have imagined he would win. Well, I mean, his poll numbers weren't that bad. Everybody expected Hillary to win, but his poll numbers were still worrying. So it's not like nobody expected it. It's not like polls were showing that he had 3% among the entire country. This is not like absolutely mind-blowing. In the early hours of Wednesday, November 9th, Donald Trump was declared the winner of the 2016 presidential election. His opponent, Hillary Clinton, called him to concede. And what? No, she didn't? Oh, yeah, okay, no, I misunderstood. I thought he was saying Hillary Clinton called Trump to ask Trump to concede, rather than Hillary Clinton calling him to concede. But no, he's right. Hillary Clinton called Trump to concede victory after Trump won. That's correct. His opponent, Hillary Clinton, called him to concede, and shortly thereafter, the president-elect gave his unexpected victory speech. The news of Trump's impending presidency was simultaneously devastating and terrifying for many. Fair enough. Agreed. World media expressed shock and dismay at Trump win. At Trump win. Great grammar there, bud. Media across the world have reacted to Donald Trump's victory in the U.S. presidential election with a mixture of shock, disbelief, and anxiety. Didn't he literally just say that? Why is he saying it again? There is also a large measure of uncertainty as to what the future holds. Again, didn't he already say this? In the U.S., some heavyweight papers published leader articles that were unprecedented in their contempt for the future president. Okay, what are heavyweight papers? What is a leader article? The New York Times said that Mr. Trump is the most unprepared president-elect in modern history. That's true. He absolutely was. And has shown himself to be temperamentally unfit to lead a diverse nation of 320 million people. Absolutely. The Washington Post saw little cause for optimism about the vote, recalling that Trump has promised to deport millions, rip up trade agreements, and international efforts to fight climate change, each of which would hurt many people. Absolutely. Again, I don't even know if any of this is true, if these newspapers made any of these claims, but they're correct. The LA Times asked in its editorial, how did that happen? The paper says the campaign and the candidate played to the worst in America, and it has left the electorate scarred. The French business daily Les Echos was forthright in its assessment. Racist, populist, male chauvinist, arrogant, and unpredictable. We do not know what is most terrifying in the personality of Donald Trump. Yeah, all of this is true, but I'm not convinced that any of these websites or newspapers said any of this stuff. Don't trust a word out of the guy's mouth, for real. The Washington correspondent of Spain's El Pai stressed that Trump goes to the White House with massive support from white voters discontented with elites. When Trump won the election in 2016, and I saw all the faces of the liberals and the Jewish media reporters in total dismay and disbelief, I knew Trump got the keys and he entered hell. Yeah, here's another thing, if you didn't know this about the guy, he really doesn't like Jews. Oh boy, he's like Kanye West over here and how he feels about Jewish people.
Seriously, I've really studied a lot of history, plus I had family that was there. And so, I mean, I don't think Hitler was a good guy. I get the Hugo Boss uniforms, amazing. But I mean, just because you're in love with the design, you're a designer. Can we just kind of say like you like the uniforms, but that's about it?
There's a lot of things that I love about Hitler. A lot of things.
So yeah, this guy feels basically the same as Kanye West feels about the Jews and Hitler and stuff like that. That one is one of the more mild ones. Kanye has said some absolutely messed up stuff, but that's for another story. So he knew he entered hell when he won the election, basically, because he thought he would be treated poorly, is the bottom line here. Let's keep reading here. All these demons, aka Democrats, laughed and mocked at him. Okay, when he said that he would be the next president of the U.S. Well, it was kind of a ridiculous idea. It's just a ridiculous idea that came into existence. And then on November 9th, when the results came in that he had won the election, the entire world was stunned and shocked at how this man went into hell, and he got the keys of hell, and he won. All of this reminded me of Hosea 13:14, Zechariah, so on and so forth. I'm not reading all of his scriptures here. Where the Christ went into hell and got the keys of hell and death. This is none other than Trump, who won the presidency, who made all the demons, aka Democrats, that's in parentheses here, traumatized, and suddenly all hell broke loose in Washington, D.C. after Trump's enormous victory. And for some reason, he quotes a bunch of Bible verses. Like, Hosea 13:14, Zechariah 9:11, Acts 2:24, so on and so forth. Wow, and that was the end of that chapter. These chapters are really short. Seriously, this one is only like 2 pages long. This next one. Chapter 15, President Donald John Trump is John the Baptist. Oh, wow. Okay. I have never seen any United States president hated so much as President Donald J. Trump. The liberal and Jewish media literally went after President Trump in every way to harass him and his family. It was insane. Unbelievable. I always wondered how it was possible that the presence of one man could shake up the demons of the Jewish media and the liberals so badly, ? Wondered how it's possible that the presence of one man could shake up the demons of the Jewish media and the liberals so badly? That's probably a better way to say it. It was as if hell stood up and broke loose at this god of a man. This is just disgusting, dude, how much he loves Donald Trump. One scripture that came to mind that President Donald John Trump is John the Baptist is the original Greek scripture of Matthew 16:13-14, where the Son of Man is compared directly to John the Baptist. Remember comedian Kathy Griffin, where she posed with the gory image on Tuesday night, May 30th, 2017, she created with photographer Tyler Shield? Yeah, if you're not familiar with this, Kathy Griffin famously posed with like a fake head, like a fake prosthetic head of Trump or something like that. It was a weird photo, and she kind of got heavily canceled for that. Yeah, it was kind of creepy, I have to say. She created with photographer Tyler Shields depicting or holding a facsimile of Donald Trump's head. Yeah, that's true. That did happen. On this very night, May 30th, 2017, according to the Jewish calendar, 6/7/5777, the 6th Sivan of the year, 2448 from creation, 7 weeks after the Exodus, God revealed himself on Mount Sinai. The entire people of Israel, 600,000 heads of households and their families, as well as the souls of all future generations of Jews, heard God declare the first 2 of the 10 commandments and witnessed God's communication of the other 8 through Moses. Following the revelation, Moses ascended the mountain for 40 days to receive the remainder of the Torah from God. Okay, so first of all, what he's saying here is he believes that Trump is the Messiah because, here's another reason I'm going to write down, the day that Kathy Griffin posed with that photo of Trump's head or whatever, that fake photo, that night was the same date in human history that Moses delivered the tablets to the Jewish people or whatever. Interesting point. First of all, who cares? What does that have to do with anything? So what? Like I said before, I was born on the 20th anniversary of the moon landing. So what? And second, Moses wasn't a real person. There's no historical evidence to believe that Moses was real. People claim Moses wrote the first 5 books of the Bible. No, he didn't. There was no Moses. And he couldn't have possibly written the first 5 books of the Bible. It details his death in one of those books. He didn't write the Bible. He wasn't even real. And third, how would we even know what those dates were? He said 6, 7, 57, 77 or whatever. How would he know that? The Bible does not give you specific dates and times when these things happened. This is completely made up. Yeah, well, let's keep reading. Following the revelation, Moses ascended the mountain for 40 days to receive the remainder of the Torah from God. David, a descendant of Judah, the son of Jacob, as well as of Ruth, a Moabite convert to Judaism, was anointed king of Israel by Samuel in 878 BCE. All future legitimate kings of Israel were David's descendants, as will be Mashiach, the Messiah, a.k.a. Donald Trump, who will restore the kingdom of David to its glory of old. Couple of things. One, remember, the guy thinks that glory means pick. And two, he believes that Donald Trump is the Messiah, so he's saying that Trump is a descendant of David, necessarily. King David passed away on the 6th of Sivan of the year 837 BCE, age 70. How does he know that? Do we have any credible historical evidence to make that claim? Where is he getting all of this? Balothor, he's desperate to feel Trump's glory inside of him. Oh, absolutely. You're right. That may be a joke, but it's dead serious. That's real. The guy has talked about it like nonstop in previous chapters. I'm convinced the guy wants Trump's glory inside of him. No joke. But let's keep reading here. The photo went viral. I assume he's talking about Kathy Griffin's photo of Trump's head again. The photo went viral, featuring comedian Kathy Griffin holding a replica of Trump's head in her hand. The gory and shocking image debuted and instantly drew quite a bit of outrage. Yeah, it did. Most definitely. It was not popular. The president's son, Trump Jr., called it disgusting in a tweet, and others on the social media platform have slammed the graphic photo as wrong and pure evil. He's using weasel words. He says others. What others specifically? Don't use weasel words. Tell us exactly who it is. Get specific like you did with Don Jr. Because the original Greek scriptures of Matthew 16 compare John the Baptist to the Son of Man and not the Son of God. So Jesus was the Son of God. He believes Trump is the Son of Man. That's the distinction he's drawing here. That reminded me of the whole ordeal with Kathy Griffin holding President Donald John, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. He put it in quotes, Donald John Trump's head in her hand as the daughter of Herodias. The daughter of Herodias did with the head of John the Baptist. I don't know who Herodias is. There's no dictionary definition here. Oh, apparently this is real. I thought he may have misspelled it. Herodias apparently is the guy that took John the Baptist's head. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, so John the Baptist lost his head. Kathy Griffin posed with a head of Donald Trump, and that's all the guy needs to believe that Trump is the Messiah, apparently. Okay. I mean, I guess I just need a little more evidence, but that's just me. Is Kathy Griffin actually Salome, the daughter of Herodias, where she stood with John the Baptist's head in her hand? The Bible is filled with recreation scriptures like John 3:3. Comparing the scriptures of the Son of Man to President Donald John Trump, John the Baptist, you will see that it is the same person. The middle name of Trump is John. I don't understand. So is John the Baptist the Son of Man then? Is he a reincarnation of John the Baptist? Does he believe in reincarnation? This is just a confusing mess beginning to end. John is a common masculine given name in the English language of Semitic origin, except J's didn't exist until the 1400s in English. So not exactly. Although John is a Hebrew name, it was not spoken with a J sound. I think it was Yon, maybe. Just like Jesus was actually Yeshua, not Jesus. And God's name is not Jehovah, it's Yahweh. The name is derived from the Latin Janus and Ionis or something, which are forms of the Greek name something or other, originally borne by Hellenized Jews, transliterating the Hebrew name Yohanan, graced by Yah, or Yehohanan. Yahweh is gracious. There are numerous forms of the name in different languages. These are formerly often simply translated as John in English, but are increasingly left in their native forms. I'd be willing to bet he just copied and pasted this right out of Wikipedia, because he did that in a previous chapter. Just copied and pasted Wikipedia, plagiarized it straight from the website about the history of the name Donald in one of his recent chapters. Absolutely nuts, dude. Wow, that's the end of that chapter. We are blowing through these chapters all of a sudden because they're all like 2 pages long each. This is nuts, man. Absolutely nuts. The next chapter is chapter 16. President Donald John Trump and his followers will be hated and persecuted for his namesake. Oh, they got to get in the persecution complex, of course. Let me know what you think about this. If you want to see more stuff like this in the comments, I am deeply entertained and honestly blown away by everything in this book. But yeah, let me know what you think.